journey also sends a powerful message to our students that excellence is not confined to one discipline. With knowledge, discipline, character, and vision, it is possible to influence institutions, transform communities, and shape the future. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our guest lecturer today, Dr. ADESOJI.
Hello everybody. I want to say good morning to you all. And it's a big pleasure to be back home, and especially back to our university. I want to thank the Vice Chancellor for this beautiful university. I've looked around, I've been to the Senate building, and it's top notch. Thank you very much for all what you do for our young. I'm very happy to see you again today. I think the last time I was this close to you was when you were deputy governor of this state. And that was a long time ago. Then I was working with United Nations Children's Fund, and I think I worked with you and the Excellency to be able to give back to my people. At that time, you really gave a good support. So I want to thank you once again. And I want to comment that you're looking very good. So I wish I would look like this when I'm your age. I think it's safe for best use of time to adopt the protocol already established by the MC. So I will not fail to appreciate the faculties here, the chairman of this occasion, my friend, my body, my friend from childhood, the head of service, the player I know, and his delectable wife, the military. Thank you for all what you do for our great country. We appreciate you. May God continue to be with you all. The media, students, our future, ladies and gentlemen. This topic is all about environmental, social, and governance as a pathway to sustainability, the role of the university. I've tried to put together about a 24-page document. So I have 20 to 30 minutes to deliver that. So I will implore you to take time to read the document after the presentation. I'll just pick salient points. And so to start this, I want to thank the provost of the university. Not just because they invited me, but a lot of work provost and his team did to make me to put this together, to make me to come early. In fact, up until last night, I was getting calls left, right, and center. Where are you? The only thing they didn't ask me was, are you asleep or awake? There was a lot of work on their part, and I want to appreciate that. Thank you very much for all what you do for us. Yes, let me start with a small story. I've been to 2 countries in this world. In one of the countries, when you enter a public place and you take just sweets and you want to drop the wrapper of the sweets and you look left, you look to the right, somebody will be there to tell you there. If you make the mistake of dropping it on the floor, you could pay a fine up to $1,000. Or you are incarcerated in prison for 2 months if you cannot afford to pay the fine. I've been to another country that if you are in a public place and you take out the wrapper of the sweets, everybody there will be looking at you. There's no place where to drop the wrapper. They will be looking at you. What they expect you to do is to put the wrapper into your pocket. take it home. If you ask them where to drop it, they will show you your pocket. And I'm sure my brothers, my students here will be able to tell me one of the countries where after they finish playing football in America, this World Cup, they waited to clean the stadium. Which country is that? Japan. When you are in Japan, there is no place to drop the wrapper. They expect you to take the wrapper home. Ladies and gentlemen, I will have to pause. My cabin is still there. That's my father, Yorongo Bokila, of Adesoji. So I have to stop because he was my teacher, my landlord, my brother. So what else? So those two countries are countries in this world. They are not from space. But in Nigeria, when you want to drop a wrapper, where do you drop it? Don't tell me. So why this beautiful topic today? The topic is a shift in focus away from short-term gains alone. You know, short-term gains. You are in the university. Why are you here for? For your certificates. True of us, the world is moving away from that. When you start a business, why are you starting a business? For profit. So the world is shifting focus away from that to a long-term resilience and broader societal impact. And the world is now asking questions. Yes, you are doing business. How much of your business is impacting? How is your business impacting this world? How is your business impacting other people around you? So it's not just about profit, it's not just about certificate, it's about societal impact. And so we are moving away from a linear economy. You know, a linear economy is, it is produced, it is used, and then discarded, to a circular economy, whereby it is produced, it is used, it is recovered, reused, regenerated, and then, so it's a circular economy. So the world is moving to say nothing is wasted, and nothing will be wasted. And that is where the world is moving to, and that is the theme of the discussion today. And so because of the university environment, I will be a bit academical, and then I'll go into business. University have long been known to be a center for learning, discovery, and societal advancement. In the 21st century, however, their responsibility extends beyond teaching, research, and community service to include generating innovation, shaping public policy, stimulating economic development, and providing practical solutions to increasingly complex global challenges. Their relevance is therefore measured not only by the knowledge they produce, but also by the impact that knowledge creates for society. The contemporary world is confronted by interconnected challenges, including climate change, resource depletion, technological disruption, rapid urbanization, energy insecurity, and widening social inequality. Addressing these issues require institutions that can integrate scientific inquiry, technological innovation, responsible governance, and strategic partnerships into sustainable solutions. Universities are uniquely positioned to fulfill this responsibility because they educate future leaders, while simultaneously generating the knowledge that drives national and global development. Within this context, environmental, social, and governance has emerged as a strategic framework for responsible leadership and sustainable value creation. And so for institutions like us devoted to science, engineering, technology, and the build of the environment, ECG provides an opportunity to transform scientific knowledge into technologies into practical solutions, and those solutions into societal progress. And so this lecture therefore examines ECG not merely as a reporting of compliance framework, but as a strategic philosophy, optimizing university systems and advancing sustainable development. And so I argue that the university of the future will be distinguished not simply by what it teaches, but by the innovations it creates, the partnerships it nurtures, the communities it transforms, and its sustainable future it helps to build. Therefore, all university stakeholders are involved. For academic purpose, let's trace the history of ECG, environmental, social, and governance. And I want you to imagine two universities with identical budgets, similar facilities, and equally qualified staff. One manages its resources responsibly, promotes fairness and inclusion, encourages innovation, protects its environment, and earns the trust of students, staff, government, and society. The other university struggles with poor governance, environmental neglect, weak stakeholder confidence, and declining reputation. Therefore, the difference between the two is not simply funding or infrastructure. It is how they govern, how responsibly they manage the environment, and how they take cognizance of their social responsibilities. That difference is what ECG takes and seeks to measure. Simply put, ECG has three fundamental questions. Question number one, how responsibly do we manage the resources entrusted to us, and how well do we protect the environment? Question number two, which is social. How fairly do we treat people and contribute to society? And question number three, which has to do with governance. How transparently, ethically, and effectively do we make decisions and manage our institutions? Although OECD gains international prominence through United Nations-led initiative that produced the landmark report, when you go, you can read the book, Who Cares Wins. That's the title of the book. Connecting financial markets to a changing world. It was a 2004 work by UN. When you go, you can read it. And then the two groups also, and that's when LKC came up with what we call triple bottom line. Even in the financial world, you always hear double bottom line. And when you hear double bottom line, it talks about people are profits. Around 2014, we started talking about triple bottom line. People, profit, and planet. And if you look at people, profit, and planet, and you look at environmental, social, and governance, we see that it's just about changing of names and changing of focus. Because the people there is talking about social. The planet there is talking about the environment. And then the profit there is talking about sustainability. So sustainability is about looking at the environment, looking at the people, the students, the faculties, the people around there. And I like it when the Vice Chancellor talked about the military around them. What is the relationship with people around you? Is Osogbo really feeling that there's a university in Osogbo? People around there, do they even feel you that yes, there's a university around there? So the relationship, I know you have a name for it in academics, it's called town and ground. What's the relationship between town and ground? That's just what that part is understand the social part of it. And so it gained prominence looking at financials. It was a business balance before. ESG was a business balance. But it's more relevant to everything now because we now have SDG. And so for universities, the concept of ESG is particularly compelling because university educates future leaders, generate scientific discoveries, develop technologies, influence public policy, and engage directly with society. Their success should therefore be judged not only by the number of graduates they produce or the papers they publish, but also by the solutions they create, the communities they transform, and the confidence they inspire. ESG provides a practical framework for achieving these objectives. And so ESG is not an additional administrative requirement. It's just talking about a better way of running an institution. It strengthens governance, improves operational efficiencies, attracts partnerships and investments, enhance innovation, and positions universities to convert knowledge into sustainable societal development. As this lecture will demonstrate, ESG is less about compliance and more about creating institutions that are responsible, resilient, and relevant in an increasingly complex world. And so the three pillars of ESG, we mentioned it, environmental. What is environmental talking about? Do good to the environment. So I don't need to explain that one further. We talked about depletion. There are some things we ought not to do in our environment. There are some things that we don't need to be told. When there's not anybody that needs to tell, it is people that come out of universities like this that should educate people as how to treat the environment. It extends beyond pollution control to include efficient energy use. How many of us switched off our lights when we left home today? Maybe if you are bad, you would have done that. And not because you think it is necessary to do that, but because you don't want to pay, right? A lot of us will switch on the light anyhow. It's a lot of waste. Because to generate light, a lot of things are being given. Waste conservation, water conservation, biodiversity protection, and climate action. These are things that we ought to be conversant with and we have to be conscious about. How well are we building our houses? Are we building our houses? You know, we have a lot of light, a lot of sun here. But it is funny that you get to people down there. When we have light, we have everything. We have beautiful air. It's dingy. Until you put on light, you cannot move inside the house. Why are we working against the environment? So we need to look at how we construct our buildings, what we do, and that's where technology is important. Social. It talks about our value for people. It encompasses fairness, inclusion. Do we have scholarships for indigents in this school? How many people have we talked to at the school to help us with those people that are poor or brilliant? You know? So we have to think about inclusion. How many female are in the executive cadre? How many female do you have in the Senate? How many male? We need to look at human capital development. How many trainings have we conducted here? When we go for training, do we share the training with other members of faculty, or we take it as our own because we don't want to share? They have to be calling us alone all the time. Stakeholder engagement. How well have you had KBC come to this campus? How well have you related with the ballet around here and leaders around here? How well do they know? How do they feel you? What is their impression of you as a university? So community engagement back, how many times have your students gone into the society, to the place to educate them? How well we have health science students, how many times have they gone there to provide services to the society? They need to know that they have a university around them. That is social responsibility. Governance, that one, you don't need to overflow it. It's all about accountability. It's all about transparency. It's all about good governance. And I like what the Vice Chancellor said when he was rounding up. He said, if you will have, maybe in the next 6 months as Vice Chancellor, please continue to do the right thing, even when I'm not there. That is governance. That is what we are talking about. So ultimately, the 3 pillars should never be viewed independently. Environmental stewardship protects the planet, social responsibility strengthens people, and governance builds trust. Together, they create resilient institutions capable of generating sustainable economy and societal value. ESG is therefore not simply a compliance framework, but a philosophy for responsible leadership and sustainable development. And I want to say here that Nigeria had actually signed a commitment that by 2030, all institutions, all organizations must be reporting on ESG. So just imagine UNIOSUN being the first university reporting on ESG. That's a nice breakdown. So think of a traveler embarking on a long journey. The destination is sustainability. A future where economic prosperity, social well-being, and environmental protection coexist. So the roadmap is provided by the 17 SDGs mentioned by the Vice Chancellor. That's the roadmap. Because it identifies the major priorities the world must address to reach that destination of sustainability. ESG, however, is the vehicle and navigation system that enables organizations to travel that road by translating aspiration into measurable actions, responsible governance, and accountable performance. So, putting together the 3 concepts, SDG, sustainability, SDG, and ESG now, I can safely say sustainability defines the long-term vision, while SDG identifies the global priorities and measurable targets required to achieve that vision, and ESG provides the institutional framework and management tools through which organizations can implement, monitor, and report their progress towards those priorities. Why do I think universities must embrace ESG? I think that one is not far-fetched. Because universities you produce knowledge, you produce innovation, you produce human capital. University educate future leaders, generate scientific discoveries, develop technologies, influence public policy, and serve society. And so, ESG strengthens the university's mission by improving teaching, changing your research style, making community impact, and then you become competitive. And so what do you gain as a university? Your university will produce competent, ethical, and future-ready graduates. Your university will convert knowledge into solutions and convert technologies into enterprise. Your university will strengthen societal relevance and public trust. Your university will improve governance, efficiency, and resilience. And of course, when you do well, what comes after? Attract easy funding. Your university will attract funding. Your university will attract collaboration. Your university will attract international recognition. And that is the essence of why the board said I should come is only the beginning. The real challenge is translating this principle into everyday university practice. And so why is it relevant to engineering, technology, and environment? Please take your paper. They brought me all the way from Lagos to talk to my students. I'll talk to them and then I'll leave. You won't see me here tomorrow. Okay. For Institute of Science, Engineering and Technology, ESG does not solve problems, but it can help you to situate your thinking, and that is where I'm here. And so as a university, look at some things that I'm going to mention now. How can your faculty help with flooding? What are the technologies that you think you can develop to help with flooding? What are the technologies you can use to help with food insecurity? What are the technologies you can use to help with plastic pollution? What are the technologies you can use to help with healthcare challenges? And these are things that are not perfect. They are simple. They are not difficult. I was somewhere and they showed me a house built with waste plastics. The whole house, beautiful house. I never knew it was built with plastic. It was a technology from a university. Can that university be university, this Osun State University? And my answer is yes. Because we generate a lot of waste. And I need to let you know that there's a university in Nigeria today that the waste, the poo-poo of the students are being used to generate energy that is being used by the health center. You want me to tell you the university? Okay, the university was mentioned when my citation was being made. They collect all the waste, human waste, and use it to generate energy. That's the energy they are using for their health center. And so the world is moving, and we need to look at how the world is moving, and you can play a big part in that. One of the greatest shifts in the world is sustainable development. It's the transition, like I mentioned, from linear economy to a circular economy. Waste is no longer viewed as a liability. But you know it's a liability here. Last week, Lagos State Governor was shouting on radio, television, that the waste around Lagos is just too humongous, that they need to be packed. And I came from Lagos, I still saw them throughout the night, they are packing waste. And I was someone like, I was shaking my head. You don't need to pack those waste. Those waste also are being used by the society. Because everything we call waste is the beginning of another business for someone. I told you about poo-poo, how smelly it is. Can you believe that it's so useful that they are using it to generate energy, electricity? It's not useless. Nothing is useless. Don't think of anything. They are all useful. So waste is not more a liability, but a resource capable of generating new products, new businesses, and new jobs. And that is the job that I'm leading with you today. It's an opportunity for science, it's an opportunity for engineering, it's an opportunity for technology, and it's an opportunity for the university to distinguish itself. And of course, if you don't know how to go about it, artificial intelligence is there for you to use. So start looking at artificial intelligence, use your phone productively, and try and look at what others have done in other times and domesticate it and let it fit into our world of today. And so today, the future university will therefore compete not simply on the strength of its physical infrastructure, but on its capacity to integrate artificial intelligence, digital innovation, scientific research, and ethical governance into a coherent system that creates measurable value for society. In the emerging knowledge economy, data becomes evidence, evidence becomes intelligence, intelligence drives innovation, and innovation delivers sustainable development. And in the university, there are critical stakeholders. I was watching and praying that the Vice Chancellor will not leave before I get to this place. Everybody should be involved. And you don't have to go to complex things. Start from something small. You have campus associations. Can't we have an association that will ensure that everybody on this campus drops no waste on the streets? By the time they leave this campus, they will transfer that knowledge to the world. Just imagine the Japanese players. They went to America to play football. But what has been embedded in them cannot leave them. They finished at the stadium. Everybody left the states. They were packing all the wastes. That's what they do in their country. And the world captured that. So imagine doing that on this campus and they do it for 4 or 5 years. When they go back into the world, they will not allow anybody to do such around them. And just imagine the number of students you have here. It won't happen in one day. It doesn't cost money. It only costs ideas. It only costs leadership. And so, Mr. Vice Chancellor, you are leading this path because you have to lead with that strategic direction. And every other person on this campus is involved. Yes, there are challenges. And I've mentioned those challenges. But do you know why I'm mentioning those challenges? Because I've learned in my years, over the years, I've been working out for almost 40 years, so over 40 years. I've learned enough to know that every challenge is an opportunity. There's no challenge that cannot be supported. And one of the challenges you are going to have, I don't need to even say it, I'm sure everybody will say no money, Abby. Even that thing will tell you that there's no money. Everybody says no money. But is that an impediment? That says no money, yet it's due to the refinery. So if you say no money, or you eat today, if you've not eaten today, you will still eat today. So, no money is not an issue. Okay? We should look at those challenges as opportunities. And I can say that this university is looking at those challenges as opportunities. That's why we have the chairman here. I learned the chairman is into produce making, he's not a lecturer. We know that the chairman will have a direct relationship with what happens there. So, limited financial resources is a problem. Inadequate knowledge is a problem. Fragmented governance structure could be a problem. Data limitation could be a problem. Resistance to organizational change could be a problem. Inadequate digital infrastructure could be a problem. Limited interdisciplinary collaborations could be a problem. Policy inconsistency could be a problem. All these problems, can they not be solved? Because those people that will solve them are the people sitting here. And so we need to move from whining to action. And there are various frameworks that we can work with. So if you look at the book review, just check 10.0, you will see some of the frameworks that have been developed to help us. And so, in rounding up, I want to suggest the Shogo Declaration on Environmental, Social, and Governance. And my own suggestion is this. Recognizing the transformative role of universities in advancing sustainable development, this lecture proposes and the lecturer the Shogo Declaration on ESG and Sustainable Universities, founded on these following principles. Number one, universities should embrace ESG as a strategic framework for institutional transformation. Number two, Sustainability shall be integrated into governance, teaching, research, innovation, and community engagement. And I think the Vice Chancellor has mentioned something like that. You have an institute that can help with that. Number 3, scientific knowledge shall be translated into technologies and practical solutions that improve society. Number 4, the university shall promote ethical leadership, transparency, accountability, and responsible resource management. 5, interdisciplinary collaboration shall become the foundation of innovation. 6, strategic partnerships with governments, industry, communities, and development partners shall be strengthened. Number 7, university shall promote entrepreneurship and commercialization of research for national development. Number 8, sustainability performance shall be measured, reported, and continuously improved. Measuring tools are all there. Number 9, university shall actively contribute to achieving the sustainable development goals. And number 10, future generations shall inherit institutions that are environmentally responsible, socially inclusive, economically resilient, and globally competitive. And so this declaration affirms that the future university must become a catalyst for sustainable development rather than merely a repository of knowledge. The university that merely disseminates knowledge serves its generation. The university that transforms knowledge into sustainable solutions serves generations yet unborn. My conclusion: the 21st century presents unprecedented challenges, and of course those challenges present unprecedented opportunities. Climate change, demographic shifts, technological disruptions, urbanization, food insecurity, public health threats, and economic uncertainty demand new models of leadership and innovation. Universities cannot remain observers of these transformations. They must become architects of sustainable solutions. And so I've argued that environmental, social, and governance is far more than a corporate reporting framework. It's a philosophy of responsible leadership, an instrument of institutional transformation, and a pathway towards sustainable development. The successful implementation depends on integrating science, technology, engineering, and the built environment, working collaboratively to convert knowledge into innovation and innovation into societal value. The future university will therefore be distinguished not merely by the excellence of its teaching or the volume of its publications, but by its capacity to solve problems, inspire innovation, strengthen communities, and create opportunities for future generations. Its laboratories will become engines of discoveries, its classrooms, incubators of leadership, its campuses, living laboratories of sustainability, and its partnerships, platforms for national and global transformation. For institutions as ours, as Osun State University, this is not simply an aspiration, but an opportunity. By embracing ECG as a guiding institutional philosophy, the university can strengthen governance, enhance research, and innovation. And I therefore, at this junction, invite our dear university and other universities in Nigeria to embrace ECG, not as another reporting obligation, but as a philosophy of responsible leadership, innovation, and sustainable nation building. Thank you for having me. I hope I've always spent your time.
If you enjoyed that lecture, can we please appreciate the guest lecturer once again? Thank you very much for that wonderful lecture. I'd like to especially recognize and appreciate the presence of the KBC in our midst, the father and a friend of the university. Whatever we are doing or holding any event here, he's always here to support and be with us. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the Honorable of Okela, His Royal Majesty Oba Dr. Adesoji of Thank you very much for coming, sir. Also in the entourage of the Royal Father of the Day, we have the Ogoni of Ilesha, High Chief Saka Fakoya. Can we please appreciate him? Thank you very much for coming, sir. Also in our entourage, we have the Odoli of Ilesha, High Chief Makonjola Afolabi. Thank you very much for coming, sir. Also we have the Olumelu of Imelu, Roger Bonde Owofade. Thank you very much for coming, sir. Also, we have the Chief of Staff to KBAC. This is the woman that we've been calling, sending messages more than 10-20 times. Professor Akine will run to go and meet her. He will call in the morning, afternoon, and evening just to get KBAC. Please let us appreciate Barrister Tukwe Ajayi. Thank you very much for coming. Also, we have the General Manager, Host Signage, Mr. Biola Omi. Mr. Biola Omi, thank you very much for coming. A member of our governing council, the permanent secretary and the Ministry of Education of our dear state, Mr. Adekilebo Kende Jimo. Can we please appreciate him? Thank you very much. We sincerely appreciate the presence of the team from Robert Scientific Nigeria Limited, the team that supported the College of Science, Engineering and Technology to hold this lecture, Oshogbo Central Hospital, and the Inaka Biotech. We sincerely appreciate your presence here today. We're moving on to the next on the list, which is the chairman's address. Ladies and gentlemen, the man who received the honorary doctorate of this university, a friend of the university, and the chairman of the day, Alhaji Dr. Tada Adeniji. Can we please appreciate the chairman better?
We are very appreciative. We have leaders. We don't continue to support. The Vice Chancellor of the university, we used to play football when we were very young, but now we cannot play football anymore. The guest lecturer, I am so happy to be here today. When he spoke about problems and solutions, I will direct my speech only to the students because we have the future where tomorrow. You can only make money only when you want to solve problems. When you try to solve problems, that is where the money is. Doing the same thing the same way will never lead you to any other results. I will give you an example of myself. I am the first black man to be inducted into Federation of Cocoa and Commerce in the world. Don't clap for me. It was resilience. We wanted to solve a problem. Why will Africa be producing cocoa and it will never be the people that regulate the economy in the world? It was a struggle. But at the end of the day, it has brought benefit to the country, it has brought benefit to the entire West Africa. Cocoa has never been to the peak it reached since for 8 years. Our involvement there created that opportunity that spread across the entire West Africa. So the team can do the same thing. I am not going to take so much time because I have another place I'm going. I have told my colleague in the office to support the faculty with 20 million naira. So that there is an opportunity of this lecture, there is an opportunity of bringing people together to show them the road We need to help ourselves. Our population is growing, land is not growing. Land is not giving birth to children. We need to be innovative. We need to feed all the mouth that God has created on this land. May God bless the investing. May God bless all of us. Thank you very much.
Please we can do better for the chairman. Do we have the students of the College of Science here? Students at the College of Science, Engineering and Technology, can you please wave? You have just received a sum of how much? Can we please appreciate him? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm very sure the guest lecturer that has delivered this wonderful lecture, because my name is ADESOJI, which means it's likely to be my father. In his name, I will announce another song. He's telling me I should go ahead. He's ready to do it. That's a blank check. Will you write it? The figure. How much will I put there? 200,000. We will fill in the gap as time goes by. We're going straight to the royal blessing. Ladies and gentlemen, with a standing ovation, please, a standing ovation as we invite the royal father of the day, our home papa, His Imperial Majesty, Owa Clement ADESOJI Astro, to have his blessing. Can we please shout, God bless you?
When you are talking of 419 youths, they are partly from Ijeshala. So I now think, what can I do? I used to blame our past governors that we have so much virgin grainland, and we are buying our food stuff from the north, tomato, almosa, pepper, everything. I used to wonder why I do not use the resources, give priority to farming in our western region. So I now said, well, okay, since I'm now in the forefront to perform, let me start my own criticism, addressing my criticism by acquiring plots of land, to do farming that will engage the youths, not just engaging them, making them entrepreneurial, in the process. In the farming and agriculture, you have planting, you have harvesting, and you have, to commercialize it and take it to stores and so on for purchases, and sometimes